Today we're exploring one of my favorite reversible stitch patterns that my husband named the crossed heart stitch. It's a 4-stitch, 2-row repeat where each row is different, which is not common for reversible stitch patterns. First we'll explore the stitch pattern itself, and then I'll show you a change to the stitch count to make it more versatile for projects. At the end, I'll show you the details of this infinity scarf I've made for my daughter using this stitch. If you're new to knitting, check out my Learn to Knit, the ABCs in Cotton series for the basics used in this video. I'll indicate which project video each technique comes from if you're interested in a more detailed explanation. They're linked in the description below. So let's knit. I'm using the crochet cast-on so it matches the selve edges. You can use your favorite cast-on instead. I've cast on 2 multiples of 4 plus 2 selve-edge stitches, so 10 stitches in total. The last stitch is the loop on the crochet hook. For the selve edges, I'm slipping the first stitch purlwise with yarn in front and knitting the last stitch. Row 1, repeat, knit 1, purl 2, knit 1. This sets up the bottom of the heart on both sides. The first knit stitch and the last knit stitch in the stitch repeat will combine into knit 2. So through the middle of the repeat, it's a 2x2 vertical rib. The next row creates the crossed heart. For each stitch repeat, the order of the first 2 stitches are changed, and then the order of the second 2 stitches. Row 2 is worked, repeat, cross 1 right, make sure to knit the knit-looking stitches and purl the purl-looking stitches, and cross 1 left. For each crossed pair, the knit-looking stitch is on top on both sides. Also, make sure to knit the knit-looking stitches and purl the purl-looking stitches. Let's do that again. Cross 1 right, and cross 1 left. You should have repeat knit 1, purl 2, knit 1 on the needles when you're done the row. For each repeat, the knit stitches create a chevron that form the main part of the heart. In row 1, each stitch is created as the reverse of the stitch below. That is, knit the purl-looking stitches and purl the knit-looking stitches. This is the key to the stitch because it finishes the heart and sets up the bottom of the next heart. So we're ready for the crossed stitch row again. It's one of my favorites because, like the best reversible stitch patterns, the 2 sides are integrated to form the design. Rather than trying to hide the purl bumps, they're used to form the top and bottom of the hearts on one side, while on the reverse side, the knit-looking stitches form the shoulders of the heart. The crossed stitches add texture and loft to the resulting fabric. All around, it's an awesome stitch. For projects using this stitch, I suggest to make sure the knitting is a bit looser. For example, by using a slightly bigger needle to accommodate the extra yarn needed for the crossed stitches. You may have noticed that with just 2 stitch repeats, one side has 2 columns of hearts while the other side has just 1 column in the middle, splitting the other. Even with more stitch repeats, the difference in the sides will be noticeable. In addition, if you're a more advanced knitter and you're planning on attaching the ends to create a transverse Mobius, like the basket weave project video, it will not have a seamless pattern at the graft. The solution is to add half a stitch repeat, so 2 more stitches to the stitch count. I suggest to do this at the beginning of row 1, so row 2 starts the same as before. So the new row 1 is purl 1, knit 1, then repeat, knit 1, purl 2, knit 1. And the new row 2 is cross 1 right and cross 1 left, and then cross 1 right for the extra 2 stitches. When I created this scarf, I didn't realize I needed to add the 2 stitches for it to be seamless in a Mobius, so I gave it a full twist instead. It worked out in any case because it's long enough to be looped around the neck twice. I started on row 2 so I could use row 1 for the grafting row. The yarn I used is a cake yarn by Karen that my daughter picked out, and I think I used 8mm needles. The scarf looks great on my daughter. In the next video, we'll explore the rippled pebble stitch, which has a firm and bumpy and vaguely wavy texture. And later this year, look for a 5 video series like last year. This time it's the ABCs in acrylic. So pick up your knitting and create something awesome. I'll do my best to respond to comments, and I'd love to hear about your favorite reversible knitting pattern. Also feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more awesome reversible knitting. For those of you still here, the last few years I've been working hard to find simple ways to feel better, what I call my daily well-being practices. This is not medical advice, I'm just sharing what works for me. Today's well-being practice is of course about hearts and love, specifically to know what we love and to make sure our thoughts, decisions, and actions are in line with what we value. For me, besides my family and friends of course, the most important thing used to be to strive for challenge, and that worked well for me for a long time. Over time, this changed, and I had to consciously recognize that the most important thing now is knowledge. As soon as I realized this, lots of things fell into place again, including starting this YouTube channel. My main reason for creating videos is not because it's challenging, although of course it is, but because I want to share and increase my knowledge of reversible knitting. This has been the best part for me, doing what I love in line with what I value, developing and sharing reversible knitting. Have an awesome day.